Sometimes the truth is painful.
You can't handle the truth.
Welcome to Todd's Truth. And on tonight's Creator Truth, we will have Shelby Roberts. Welcome.
Hello.
So how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Just had some Mexican food and it's chilly. It's chilly again.
That might not be a good choice of food for a stream.
It's become a ritual of mine. I had it.
Really?
Yeah, the last two streams, and I told them before, I was like, hey, so if I run, then
we know why.
yeah, then I will be right back.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's what Mexican does to me all the time. So that's why I don't eat it. It's one of the only foods that makes me actually sick. I don't know why.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my wife loves it. She's from San Diego. Mm-hmm. For some reason, I don't know why. It messes with me bad. So I'm like, okay, you can have all the Mexican food you want. I'll eat something else.
Yeah, I stick to the low heat. I'm like, yeah, some chorizo, kill it with some potatoes and eggs or whatever, and then it's fine.
Yeah, she likes her stuff spicy, so that's.
Yeah, I don't do heavy spice. Even when we do Indian food and stuff, I'm like low spice, 1 or 0, as low as it can go.
Yeah. Some foods I like spicy, like some Asian foods, and I like curries, but then there's some that it's like, whoa, no, can't take that.
Yeah, I love yellow curry, but it messes my stomach up.
Yeah, I've eaten, I think, every kind of curry. And when we were in Hong Kong, my wife was actually over there for 4 months. One of our friends there introduced us to a curry I've never had before. It's a white curry. And it only served at this restaurant in Hong Kong. And they won awards for it and everything. And it was, oh my God, it was so good. But of course now it's like, I have to go back to Hong Kong to have it because there's nowhere else that serves this stuff. I'm like, great, thanks.
So I wonder what that was.
Yeah,
I've had pumpkin and some other stuff, but I'm not sure exactly what all was in it. I'm like, yellow curry, whatever's in there, I'm good with it. Yeah,
yellow curry, red curry, what is it? Brown curry, and there's one other, I think. But yeah, I'd never white curry before until this. Say hi to Jim Cox and Darren and Rob's in the chat now.
Partly people.
You can handle the truth. Oh no, here we go. Yeah, I called his people. His people called me. Did that.
Finished recording the new album.
Yeah. How's that going? How's the studio work going? So speaking of things, I saw you launched your new campaign today.
Just the sign up page.
Yeah.
Just the sign up page. Yeah, I wanted something up. I feel weird not having things active. So
here it is. And I also got your books just the other day, but I haven't had a chance to read them. So there's.
Oh, excellent.
There's some
of the ash cans. Yeah.
Yep. For Ragetality, which I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Those have some of the they have some of the cover, it's pretty much line art. It's some of the cover stuff, some promo stuff, and then a couple sequentials in there.
Hello, Borrow. And then so this went up today then, right? Your sign up?
Yeah, earlier today I was sitting on it and I just was like, you know what, I'll put it up and let it sit for a bit and collect, and then when I'm ready to start working a little more on the actual Indiegogo page, then I'll pull it down and let everyone know.
Yeah, remember, what is it, 6 months, I think you have for the signups? I think that's what I heard.
I'm not sure. I've always jumped the gun. I think on my that sketchbook campaign I did, I just threw it up. I didn't even try. I just put it up and let people know on Facebook and Instagram. I was like, hey, have at it. If you're interested, here's the link. And
I mean, when people found out about it on Twitter, they went crazy. They're like, what? Where did this guy, where did he do this? I remember that.
Yeah, I still get people hitting me up. I did overprint a little bit on the sketchbook. I overprinted a bit, and it's funny, they're still selling through. I just had 2 people yesterday hit me up. It's always in waves. It's 2 or 3 at a time, and then I'll go 2 or 3 weeks with nothing, and then 2 more will come out of the ether. And
well, maybe one of those coming out of the ether, because I didn't get it. So now that I know, I might have the ether.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. What happens is they'll see copies on eBay, or they'll see copies that other people that they know, or that they heard about, and they're like, what? I didn't know that. I'm like, yeah, 99% of the world didn't know it existed with the way algorithms are. And
right. Why we need to get you.
It's tough.
On more screens so everybody can, so everybody knows. That's why I was like, I saw this today. I was like, oh, awesome. I'll talk about it tonight to make sure people start hearing about it. Get you some signups. I already did, by the way. I signed up already.
Sweet.
But and then your other campaign, which was the first volume of 94. And then this was the first book for the 94, because you did the sketchbook first, and then this one, right? And then you're doing the Ragetality, which is going to be volume 2 of this, right?
The or is it okay? So that volume 1 there that you have open is the first 3. I had released floppy editions of these.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That I would sell at shows. I would do variants for online. There was shops that would want limited runs of 50 or 25 or whatever. And I'd done several variants on floppy editions. So that one right there is a collection of issue 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which was produced a ways back. The Ragetality book is going to be a 2-issue thing. I'm not really promoting it as a 2-issuer, just because the size. I'm going 56 pages. 48 is going to be story. 48 pages of story, and then I'm going to have some extra content in there. And I'm talking to some people, trying to pull some favors. I have done a lot of trades with other creators, and I'm starting to call the bets. I'm like,
yeah, there you go.
Hey, remember that piece I did for you 4 years ago? So
I'll call it in my marker.
Right.
Well, I just got this one too as well. So let me go full screen so I can just show it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, the sketch.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are all
awesome.
Those are all gone. They went pretty fast. I put it up as a I forgot the terminology on it already. Sorry.
Was that the limited
multitasking
one?
Yeah, I put it up as the right there as the
there it is.
The featured perk. Yes. Sorry. Yeah, my brain stopped. I couldn't think of the word. So I put it up. I put it up as the featured perk way late, and I ended up selling through them after the campaign had ended. So. Yeah,
it looks awesome. Look at it up close. I was like, oh, that really looks awesome.
Well, so that sample there's the sample image. I didn't have any blank edition copies on me, so I actually did that head sketch on some blank on a Marvel book to kind of see how it would work, and then I photoshopped it in, and then I photoshopped that head onto it, and I was like, you know what? Okay, it's a headshot. Nobody actually got a headshot like that. That's why I told everybody on some of the streams, I'm like, hey, whatever you get, it's going to be better than that. That's at the very, me rock bottom. That's what you're going to get. That was just me trying out, to see how it would look on the actual blank.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause this one looks, bring it back, but this one looks awesome. I like it. I love this segment with him coming straight at you with the gun.
Yeah, that's the only one that's the only action one that I think I did.
Oh,
of him, like, the
good.
Force
I'm glad,
First.
'cause
I
that
think
looks
I'm pretty
really
sure
cool
that's the
looking.
only one that I did like that. Yeah, yeah. The rest, I mean, it's I had a couple people ask, "Hey, Randy."
Hey, Randy. Yeah, that one looks. Nah, that looks cool. I love it because the gun's like coming right at your face. I like that. So then, when are you? Do you have any idea yet when you're thinking about launching your next campaign?
So I want to be pretty far in like the line art side.
Oh, good. Yeah.
The story stuff I've had written on it for like honestly 2 or 3 years. It's been fully scripted out.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
I'm gonna tweak some stuff out though, because some of it, just the fashion forwardness. I need to update a few things on it that I feel were kind of filler that I threw in. I want to make sure that it's 100% throughout, like a very nice, end product. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the trade, like the actual, the book that went out.
Yeah.
Um, but like most artists, when I go through it, I'm like, I would have done it completely different. Like hindsight, hindsight's golden, right? So,
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
It's always 2020. Oh. Rob.
Before the
Before, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Rob looks like Gimli from the Hobbit movies. So question, what do you think of this new era of comic books? Where it's more about marketing yourself as much as it is about marketing the comics to people.
That's kind of been what I've been doing on a personal level the last like 10 years anyway. So I'm not really sure. I think what's happening is you have a lot of I'm going to say mainstream artists, even though I was mainstream. I mean, you have a lot of artists who they would rely on the flagship title that they're connected to, because it was never really like the Wizard top 10 thing back in the day. That used to give a lot of credibility to an artist, regardless if the work was good or not. It was they're a top 10 artist or they're a top 10 writer, and that would carry its own weight a bit as far as like other gigs and if they did their own creator own thing and all that. But even when I was working on like the Image stuff and the Deadpool stuff, I was always promoting myself as my own work. Like I was never trying to ride the coattails of the product, because the product is I just felt like all of it, pretty much everything I worked on, I felt like it had an expiration date. I know it sounds funny, but it never felt like something that was going to stick.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably one of the important things is like with the creator owned stuff of my own stuff, I always wanted to have people associate the characters or the book titles at least with my name. So, just that it coincides. Like if you see a 94 book, Shelby Robertson is involved with it.
Right.
And you see that with a lot of the, the older artists and creators, Rob. I mean, when Rob talks about himself, Liefeld talks about himself. You don't hear him say Youngblood. You don't hear him say Prophet.
Right.
The stuff where he actually made the most money. You hear him talk about, what? Deadpool. Everything's Deadpool.
Yeah.
And it's like, so he's using the household name to try to propel his own name. I don't know. I think it's, if you got a history with something, I can see it, but I don't really, the longevity, if you don't own it, I don't feel like it's something that benefits me.
Right. Yeah.
to promote. Like I'm not emotionally invested in something I don't own.
Right.
So
Yeah. Instead of, using up your energy for that, use it for your own IPs
yeah,
so that your name is out there.
I think I took your question off the rails.
That's
I'm
okay.
just
No, go
ranting.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead. So how is it working with Frege?
Dan's been pretty busy. Yeah, we have our little group, meetings and stuff and all that. But yeah, he's been very busy. I think he's juggling a bit
Yeah.
right now. So
Yeah, it sounds like
yeah,
you're doing like 5
lately,
things.
yeah, lately I've been focusing on getting more stuff finished with the Rage Talities War campaign that I'm starting to promote starting today. I've been promoting it a bit with hashtags and stuff, but nobody reads that nonsense, So, it might get 10 searches in the next 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Like some of my, that's why the hashtags I just throw up, whatever it is.
Yeah, whenever I see you tweet, I usually try to retweet it too.
I appreciate it. Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to get the visibility. It's very hard to get the visibility organically. And I've talked about this, I think, on every stream that I've done.
There, sorry. I was clicking back and forth. And then, okay, let me ask you, let's take a little off the subject here. Oh, by the way, I think you guys did a great job on that cover for Replicator that you guys did.
Oh, thanks.
That cover was amazing. That cover was awesome.
Yeah, it was a pretty nice piece. Dan's pencils were tighter than what I am used to or expected, so that was nice as well. Yeah, but I do have a tendency to I'll hijack a piece. I mean, when I'm working on stuff, if I think something is kind of wonky here and there, I will change it immediately. I don't care. I'm like, your choices are ink this yourself, or
yeah,
just
or let me
roll with it. Just roll with it. Yeah, yeah. That's one thing I tell people. I'm like, I'm never going to give you something that I am not going to feel proud to promote. Like, I'll never give you something that I feel is bad. Bad work. I've done bad work. I would never do that to, especially to the indies. Like, everybody needs the help. You need strong pieces, bring attention, and make strong books. So
right.
Yeah.
So long. How long have you been doing the 94 characters? Did you come up with them when you were working with Image, or after that?
No. Oh man, the first 94 release I did was 2014.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 2014. I did a black and white book, and then it grew into I think a one shot and then 3. I mean, I have so much work since, you know what I mean, between then and now. But I'm pretty sure it was it was either 2013 or 2014 when I did the first one, and it was a convention. It was a convention release.
Oh, okay.
At amazing when we still had the Amazing Arizona show, and I remember it was the same weekend that we did all the comic creators there. It was a Guinness Book of World Record comic for the most number of artists on a book and the fastest turnaround for a physical copy, something like that.
Wow.
And so it was like everyone did a panel, and literally just inks and Copic markers, and that was it. And so originally it was supposed to be Robert Kirkman was supposed to have done the script, but he was there at the show too, but for some reason he didn't. So someone else did the script. I don't have the book sitting here. Liefeld ended up doing the cover.
Oh.
Mark Silvestri did a panel. I did a panel. My buddy Andy did a panel. A ton of essentially all Artist Alley did a panel, and then also the guest artists. And
wow,
that was the year that it was Mark and Rob was there. I feel like Jay Lee was there. Like there was a ton of. Jimmy J is real big in the 90s. Like he's real big into 90s creators. So he had a lot of the Top Cow.
Was that convention? Was that in Phoenix?
That one was, yes, because it used to, I believe it was Phoenix. It used to be in the Mesa Convention Center, and I think that was the year he moved it to the Phoenix Convention Center downstairs. So,
yeah, when I've done a lot, I remember hearing about that convention. I never got to it because I used to do go to a lot of conventions.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was funny hearing when I talked to you and then I talked to Frega and finding out that we all grew up like not very far from each other. Like we all grew up in like the same area, and we all went to like WonderCon together. Mm-hmm. It was great. I was like, oh my gosh, that's right. I was right here. I think he was in Martinez or something.
He was in Martinez. That's the California's capital of oil refinery. Yep. Like there isn't dick there. There's nothing going on in Martinez.
No, my dad used to work there in the refinery.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So, and I'm like, and I grew up in Napa and then moved to Vacaville, which is right there on the dead center on the freeway, right between San Francisco and Sacramento. And I went to that convention from day one, every year, till it moved to the Cow Palace, and then I moved to Southern California.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people kind of bounced as soon as it went to San Francisco. A lot of people bounced out.
I did. I moved, and I'm like, nope, not going again. I don't want to drive over to San Francisco. That's a pain in the butt.
It got crazy expensive just to attend it. It was like stupid expensive when it moved. I was born in Livermore, which is, right there, Livermore Valley. I was born in Livermore, and I grew up out there. And Dan and I have a lot of weird things that coincide through our life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so. I remember when I talked to him a couple weeks ago. He was on another stream, and I was saying that I grew up right there too. And I went to WonderCon all those years, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, me too!" And then he mentioned you. He's like, "Shelby did too," and he grew up. We all grew up right there, and I'm like, we were probably at the convention at the same time, and just didn't know each other.
Probably.
That was so crazy.
What was it? So that hotel that they used to have it at was it the Radisson or was it the?
Yeah, I think it was the Radisson, and now it's
switched. Someone else changed it. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, it might be.
Yeah.
When they had that, the first Image Con, it was like Image Comics creators, and that Jimmy J invited me out for that. That was in 2000. That was in 2011 or 2012. It's when Walking Dead like barely started getting popular, like with the shit, like barely. He held it at that convention hall because I had weird deja vu. Like when I was loading in, I was like, I've been here before. This is really weird. I feel like I've been here. And then he just started laughing. I was talking to Jimmy, the convention runner, and he goes, dude, this was the old WonderCon. I was like, oh, that's why. Okay.
Hey, Skip.
Skip.
Yeah. Did they change out that ugly carpet?
No, the funniest part is the carpet is exactly the same, and they still had that weird, that green golden, weird tapestry stuff hanging down the walls. So you'd have like drapes, and you open it, it's just a wall, like the weirdest.
Yeah, because that stuff's been there since I can remember. That was what it looked like when I first went there. For like the first one, it's like ugly carpet and that.
Oh, they didn't. Yeah, they didn't upgrade. They didn't upgrade anything.
That's awesome. They're just like,
yeah.
Nope, that's good. Leave it. It's only been there since the 80s. It's like, wow.
Yeah, I had hit that show. My buddies and I used to go to that show, like having parents drive us up. And it was 1989. I mean, for me, it was only like a 5-year span. And then I was already working at Image. So
Yeah, I was. I my
94, I think 93 or 94. Well, yeah, 94. That's where I got my naming convention off my book, was because when I was hired in.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
So then in 94, was it, or it might have been in 95, we had an entire Extreme booth at the WonderCon in that same hotel, and then behind us was Wildstorm, and there's a weird rivalry there. It was more like a who could do more sketches for fans sort of ordeal.
You guys are
It
all.
was yeah. We were all young too.
Yeah.
Like all the artists, like Rob was an old man to us, and he was like 27, 26.
Yeah, he was the old
Yeah.
guy. It's like I think it was Art Taber said that when he came in to work with Rob and them, and he was like, "Yeah, we were the old guys. We were only in their like mid-20s." I was like, I'm like, that's funny. Yeah, I went to. Where's that? I still have when I went there when Image first started, because I knew some of the guys before they started Image, because I used to hang around with Ron Lim. Because I met him through the comic book store where I was working, and I later ran a couple of the stores. He was a subscriber at the Sacramento store for my boss. So I met him through them. And I remember going a couple times with him, into seeing him there, and then he would introduce me to some of the guys like Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld and those guys.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God. It was kind of like one of those things of, I'm holding their comic book. Do you know who you are? you drew these. This is amazing. And then I went there when Image first started. They came to WonderCon. They had the Image booth set up, and I still have the issue that they gave out at the cons to introduce Image. And you got people to sign it. There were different people at each one of the shows, and I still have mine from then, and it has Eric Larson's signature on it and Dan Frega's signature on it, which I thought was. I showed it to him. I showed it to him last time I talked to him. I'm like, look what I still have. He's like, oh my gosh. So did you went into Image because you met Dan, right?
I had met Dan before he was published, and I don't know if I can even say this. I'm pretty sure it was before he was published. I think that he had, at the time he had told me at least, that he was promised a job by Rob. It was one of these, it was a really weird situation. I was like, oh, what books have you worked on? Like, he actually had an ash can of samples at his table. And he goes, oh, well, this is a book I'm going to do through Rob Liefeld, Extreme, where he's like, yeah, we're real close friends. He promised me a job with them. And I was like, oh, what are you going to work on? He's like, oh, that's not really decided yet, but I'll be doing my own book there. I was like, okay. I was 13 or 14, I think, when I met him.
Oh.
And yeah. And then he, a year later, the 3 or 4 Bloodstrike books had already come out. And then I saw him again at a show, and he remembered me, and we were talking. And it's funny, my story is very similar to Richard Friend, the inker. He has a very similar story. He was like, yeah, I met Dan at a show, and he goes, yeah, I was showing samples, and Dan's like, one day, kid, you'll be on this side of the table, And 25 years later, it's like Richard Friend has inked, Dave Finch for a decade, and Jim Lee, here and there, done tons of ghost inks. He's working on tons of people's books. Yeah,
I picked up a couple of pieces from him. From the He-Man Masters of the Multiverse that Dan did.
Oh, right.
I bought 2 of his pages that he inked. Were really, really awesome looking. I mean, Dan does an amazing, wicked looking Skeletor. I saw that and I went, oh yeah, I want those. Yeah, he's a cool guy too. Richard is. I like that.
I've only
Got to talk to.
I've only run into him twice. And both times he's pretty cool. I ended up grabbing some. He had some prints of stuff he had inked. He had a couple. Matter of fact, I think the stuff I picked up were Finch pieces. He had a Death cover, and he'd had a.
Oh, that's cool.
There was a Batman cover from the Dark Knight run he did with Finch too, and I really just liked the art. I was like, I need this print.
Yeah,
Finch I don't have it hung up. I still don't have it hung up, but I was like, I need this.
Yeah,
like, now.
Yeah. He's a good. Yeah, Finch is awesome. Is an awesome artist.
Yeah, he had the original too, but I think it was like 6,400. I was like, pass. I can't buy that. I'll just get this print. Wow. How much is the print? 15. I'll take that.
Really. I'll take that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let me give you a hard-hitting question here.
Yes.
Who is your favorite comic book character ever?
Comic. Okay. Well, the one that sticks just because of when I was like toddler size would be Hulk. It'd be Hulk from when I was a toddler. Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know there's been hundreds of treatments of the character, but as far as
you like the original guy, the Hulk smash guy.
Yeah, and oddly enough, my favorite. So my favorite all around, I would say, is Hulk. My favorite to draw though is probably Todd era Spidey. Actually, that would be. I just feel like you can be a lot more free, line choices, and I just I like being able to get away with stuff, that impossible poses and stuff like that. Yeah. Really, that's why I created a character with the Ragetality character. I was like, I'm gonna go totally Todd on this.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I was gonna say that that sounds familiar for some of your pictures I saw, that like the one where he's jumping in the air and he's had two swords and he's in that position, and I was like, wow, that's a good one.
Yeah, I like the super crazy stuff.
Yeah, here it is. I found this is the one I'm talking about. This one.
Yeah,
three swords actually. Sorry.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. So that piece actually, that's an homage to myself. Yeah, that piece right there. So that cover is an homage to myself of my first published piece of artwork, which was in Frega's Black Flag book back in 93 or 94. I did a Pin Up a Rascal way back in the day, and that right there is literally a light box of that piece. I found because I had sold the original years ago. I found a 1117 Xerox, and I just light boxed it. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna homage myself on this.
There you go.
Yeah.
Where's that one? I just saw one. I wanted it. There it is. Rank the Hulks from Go-Gurt Hulk.
Go-Gurt.
Incredible Hulk. Incredible Hulk, yes. Yeah, that's why I was like, when you said Spider-Man, I was like, this is the first thing I thought of in my head the minute when you said that. But you like doing the different poses. I was like, oh, this is what I was thinking, because the minute I saw this picture on your campaign page, I was like, oh, that's awesome. And not just two swords he's carrying three swords. I was like, that's awesome.
So originally, well, if you look at his back, like, dude, where are these, where are these blades at? Yeah, like nobody mentions that. I'm like, that was on purpose. That was not an accident. Yeah.
Are they the handles sticking out?
Yeah.
The blades going down his back in that pose. Yeah. He's like, oh, I just stabbed myself again.
Yeah.
And you just said that. I didn't even think of that until you just said that.
Nobody notices unless I point it out. Yeah.
Oh, that's
a friend of mine noticed. He goes, so he's got a lot of swords. I was like, yeah. And I was even doing a thing through the book where I would purposely swap. because the book is sort of an homage to the 90s, at least the first three. The Raciality War book is actually a little more, it's very fashion forward. It's very more of like a literal book versus me just having fun. So in that book, there were things that I had done where, you know, like the old Liefeldian tropes, you know, things disappear in the uniform, things reappear. All of a sudden he's holding a sword that wasn't there in the previous three panels. You know what I mean? Like I that stuff, that was not on accident. Like I was doing that kind of stuff on purpose, you know?
Yeah, I used to always
mostly to entertain myself.
Yeah, yeah. I used to always look at it as Liefeld's art, and then, like you said, things would appear, disappear, or muscles would appear that weren't there, and then new things would appear, and things like that. Yeah. Oh, that was
Barbarian Hulk.
Ah.
I always liked. Actually, here.
Every fan of Todd knew that position.
So, this is my Hulk Bible, and it has all of the John Byrne issues. So this run here, which is essentially, so it'd be like 314 up through around this era. It's like the 320s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is my favorite. And the funniest part about this is I'm like 90% certain that McFarlane was trying to ape this on his Hulk run just because of line selection and layouts and stuff. But no, yeah, this is my favorite. I always have it out for reference. Reference to me is I usually have comics open while I'm working on a page, but I'm not copying anything or trying to ape anything. It's just sort of like, sometimes it's good to see the goal. You know what I mean? Like just have it out. And yeah, like I'm working on a page and I got this Appleseed trade paperback out, and it's not even, yeah, it's like this goes way back. These old Appleseed trades, which, they're crazy thick. So I remember Frege borrowing this exact book, and we used to sign because this is my old signature when I was like 16. We used to sign our reference material because they would walk away from your desk on their own, right?
Yeah.
So
they just grow legs and walk away. Yep.
But no, these things are cool. Like it's just cool to have stuff out, you know, even if it doesn't relate to anything I'm working on. It's just cool to have just other artwork out. Working. Yeah, I think it's a mental thing. Since there's no studio environment here where I can look at my neighbor, you know. Yeah. You're all gotta have something to look at here. That's one thing I miss. That is one thing I miss from the company work, though, is having peers. So it kind of like lets you know kind of your level of where you're at, and kind of shows you kind of where you need to work on stuff too. And it's really easy to fall in the trap when you're working at home. It's real easy to think that all your stuff is gold, and then you figure out that it's really not all that, and you have a lot of improvement to do. You know. So you guys were looking like in a bullpen kind of setup, where like you guys like had the desks all around you. Yeah. Back in the day, we did. Yeah. Dan's office, because like Pat Lee and I were living with Dan, and so Dan's office was through another hallway. You walked past Image Central, and there was technically there was 5 offices. One of the offices had a ton of trade paperbacks and 11x17 art boards. So it was basically storage. One of the offices was Rob's, one of the offices at the very end, past Dan's, was Sherry. Like Rob's sister, Sherry was doing something for extra. I don't even know what. I only saw her maybe 3 times in how many years. I have no idea what she did there. And then right across from Dan was Matt Hawkins, who, he runs Top Cow now. But Matt Hawkins was like, literally, they were staring at each other all day long. Because the office was like glass, like giant glass doors. If you ever watch American Psycho, the way the office looks there, that's exactly the way Extreme's office looked. Like anyone who was in an office had no privacy. There was no wall. It was just giant glass doors and glass.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Everybody. Everybody saw it. We can see you. Yeah. Don't do anything in there.
Right in front of mine, I could see, I would look at Cedric Nacone's back all day because Cedric had his back to me in an office. So I'd look at Cedric, and then around the corner from me in their office was like, they all shared an office. It was Todd Knock, Larry Stucker, the inker, and then John Sabal and Danny Mickey were right across from one another, but facing away. They were ass to ass. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I bet that was like you said. You think it's like, oh yeah, look at this, and you look over. I better step up my game. These guys are good.
Yeah, and I got to see that a lot watching Danny inking and watching Jonathan ink. I would go in there and just see some of the stuff they're putting out, and then go back to my desk, and I'm like, I'm gonna restart this because this freaking sucks. You know what I mean? That happened a lot.
Was that studio, or was that in Fullerton?
It was in Anaheim, off Catella, the Catella exit in Anaheim.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We were in the Bank of California building on the 10th floor. I think we're on the 10th floor of the Bank of California building, in the parking lot of the old Angels Stadium.
Right.
So it was the Anaheim Angels back then.
Oh yeah.
And from our office where we were at, we would be able to, so it was like me, and then Andy Parks was right next to me in the bullpen area. And then Calvin Irving, who was working on Chapel, was across from me. And then John Fang, who was working on Bloodstrike, I think at the time, he was across. And then like 2 rows over from me was like Pat and Byron, the colorist, Nathan Loom, the colorist. Byron goes by Snakebite now. Everything he does is under the moniker Snakebite.
Oh.
So at some point he switched it up. He was doing animation court. He was in the late 90s after Extreme folded, and that he went into animation and started doing that kind of work. I know Frege is still pretty close with them. I am not, but Dan is. So Dan, kind of told me a little what he's been working on. So he didn't leave art. He just kind of left comics.
Right.
He was coloring that comic, Red Star. It was like a Russian, all I remember is the covers were like a Russian girl, like with the hat, and then they always had tanks, and like the coloring was always very cool, but like very muted, like muted reds and muted browns and grays and that.
Oh, okay.
But that's the last thing I know of that he was coloring professionally.
So kind of like Dan did when he left comics, and then now he's come
all
back.
Of us. Yeah. I mean, all of us did. I went into film. I went into animation for a bit. Marvel Action Hours, working on the Hulk for a bit. Storyboard finishes. Basically, it's no-brainer stuff. They do all the work for you. You're just at some point you're just tracing stuff for 13 hours a day. And then I went into film and a little bit of TV proposal stuff, and then I left. I got out of it. It's boring. When you're not doing comics, it's boring. That's why comics have to work.
Right.
Production art isn't fun.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it sounds like that's what a lot of people did from that time in comics is They all went to do other stuff like film and animation, and like was doing all of the storyboarding. And
I mean, he's still doing advertisement and stuff, like, just because, like, it's one of those things, like, when you're doing it, you can't really get out.
Right. I think he said the other day when he was on like one of the shows that he was like, I don't know if he was joking or not, but he said he was doing like 5 things at once. So it was kind of busy. And I was like, wow, okay.
I think he actually is. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I would say that's accurate.
Dang. Yeah. He's busy. So then what do you kind of, with using Indiegogo, what do you think of it? Do you like what you like? Do you don't like, or what could be fixed to make it better?
In all honesty, I'm trying to raise my backer count. That's my only grievance, is that getting my backer count higher.
Yeah. Well, we need to get you on more streams. That's why we need to get out there more stuff for you.
No,
yeah.
I agree. I need to. What happens is I get this tunnel vision, since I'm sort of like a one-man army, and I'm like, okay, well, I gotta draw all this, scan it all, get all my files prepped. Really, the only things I don't do right now is I don't do my own flats for coloring. I have a flatter, a buddy of mine who lives up in Phoenix, so I have him do all my flats, and then really that's it. Oh, lettering. I hate lettering. It brings a tear to my eye to have to cover. I'm one of those weirdos that if every comic could just be just the line art, no words, I'd be okay with it. I would still buy them just because, like, it's that artistic eye. Like, if they're good enough of a storyteller, you'll be able to tell the story through the transitioning of the panels, and it's like watching putting a movie on silent, and you can still understand what's going on.
Right. So you just need to make a mute character, or like Snake Eyes or something. So you can do the whole comic without having to have any words in the thing.
Yeah, it's painful, and there's other people who are, luckily most letters are cheap enough that they don't break the bank, and you can,
yeah, like CG's letterer, Eric Weathers. He seems to be lettering every comic in CG. I don't think there's one. There's maybe just a few that other people are lettering, and I'm like, what? Eric isn't doing
so.
This?
Yeah, I did have a letterer reach out to me who had done some of my previous stuff, and they're basically like not interested anymore. They're like, oh, I kind of see what you've been doing, and I was like, that's cool.
Yeah,
you do you, man.
Okay, see you later.
Yeah. I mean, really, that's it. I'm like, you're not going to create a hurdle for me, man.
Yeah, there's plenty of people that will take your job.
Yeah.
I saw a question here for you. Let me pull it up. There it is. If Shelby didn't go into comics and art, where would you have ended up in life?
Well, we would have had double the amount of albums in our discography for starts. Maybe a couple covers albums, some I would have ended up in art no matter what. I would have ended up in art because even when I wasn't doing comics full time, I was still working in design. I was still working in I don't know, actually. When I was younger, I used to want to be I was really into animals. I felt like I was going to be a very good veterinarian. And that's probably when I was, 5, 6, maybe.
Yeah, I did too. I worked with animals a lot when I was younger. I got to work. I went to Sacramento Zoo, volunteered up there, doing stuff, and then I got a job at Marine World in Northern California when it moved to Vallejo, and I got a job there as a scuba diver and as a security guard, and I got to know all the trainers when I worked there. So on my days off,
like at the same time?
Yeah. Like I would work so many days as on security and do the other days as a scuba diver. Because the scuba divers came in early in the morning to make sure all the tanks were working, they were clean, all that stuff.
My brain was like, so you're having to like fish people out like at sea.
Oh, we did that too. Yeah, we did that a few times when drunk people would jump in the killer whale tank.
Nice.
Or the dolphin tank or whichever one. But yeah, I got to meet all of the trainers and get to know them, and so on my days off, I would come in and they'd let me work with the animals with them. So I got to like work with the tigers and giraffes, elephants, all those things. And I got to swim with the killer whales and the dolphins and all those things too, working as a scuba diver.
Yeah,
I loved it. I thought I was going to do that, when I go to school and for that. But then I was like, yeah, no, my ADD and school doesn't work very well together. Let's move on to something else.
Yeah,
underwater mall.
Oh, jeez.
No, I didn't do it both at the same time. Walk around, scuba tank on my back with a security outfit.
Are those things water resistant? What are they called? Those things with the two wheels all the mall cops go around and do their wheelies in?
Oh, the segways, yeah.
The segways, yeah.
No, I don't think they are.
They don't go underwater?
No. That's why Todd joined CG. He's already trained to keep the world.
Oh, jeez.
With land whales. Oh, wow. Good one. Okay, go roundabout way of the same question is, was there a character in a comic book character that you didn't like or you couldn't stand?
That I can't stand. Whew, so many.
Was there
oh, you don't even know, dude. There's so many I can't. Oh. All right, so I'm gonna. Okay, so there's a joke. There's a joke that some of us have. No, I don't think that it's actually true in any way. But we used to make a joke that the Power Pack comic was the graveyard. If you're an artist on the way out, that's the last book on your resume.
Oh.
No, I don't think that that's true at all. But I mean, that book was not good. Like that book was not good. And I would always be so as a young child, I would always get very upset when my mom would buy me those 3-packs. They'd always have 3-pack comics, right, from the drugstore. And what they would do is you'd get a good one in the front, a decent one in the back, and there always was a power pack or a cloak and dagger in the middle. And it was
a crappy one in the middle so you couldn't see it.
Yeah. Or like the new Defenders, like some issue where, Brett Blevins decided he wanted to be drunk all month and not, draw correctly. And it was just bad. It was painful. It was like this, those were the ones that you put in your trade pile.
Yeah.
They went in the trade pile like, okay, anyone wants these, I'll trade them off.
Oh, I remember those. Yeah. When you said the power pack, I was like, oh my gosh, I hadn't thought of that in years.
So essentially any character affiliated with that book can just stop existing, or I'm so not feeling it. Not feeling it.
You're on your way out when, guess what your new assignment is? Here you go. Oh no, you're going to fire me now.
Actually, and later in life, I actually was not. I wouldn't say I dislike them. I just feel they were overrated. I've never been a Thanos fan. I have friends that were all like when Infinity Gauntlet and all that came out, they were picking up all those books. Mm-hmm. And I tried. I was like, I have never been a huge Silver Surfer fan. The whole storyline just seemed kind of like just sort of like a cash grabby, like convoluted. Exactly. I was like, what is this? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, and I already felt like Marvel had taken my money before with not Fall of the Mutants, but in the Inferno storyline. I was like, nothing came of this. This was just buy all of our books because you have to if you want to get the complete story. And so,
you know how many crossovers we're going to sell? There was a lot.
Yeah, but it became a yearly thing. Marvel really pushed that. They were like, every summer you knew you were going to have to buy 19 books
Yep.
to understand the universe.
Yeah. I didn't do it. Because I worked at a comic book store. So when they would come in, I'd be like, okay, let's read that. Okay, done. I wasn't going to buy half this. I'm like, oh, no way. And they'd scan it out to almost every one of their titles, and they'd have it cross over to everything. And it's like, but this one had like 2 pages in it. Was the crossover? What you want me to?
Yeah, it was bad. The only ones that I actually held on to were the ones penciled by Walt Simonson and Mark Silvestri. Other than that, the rest, I traded them off way long time ago.
Yeah, I remember because at that time, that's when I knew Ron Lim, and he was doing the Infinity Gauntlet. And I remember he drew me on a backing board. He drew me Thanos on it, and for the life of me now, I don't know what happened to it. In one of my mini moves, it disappeared, and I'm like, now I keep thinking back to that, going, damn, what happened to that drawing? It's gone now. Dang. And I know
I was rebagging and reboarding books. And I found from WonderCon in the 80s, I found a couple backboards that were sketched on by Art Adams. And then I found a couple from Bill Sienkiewicz. And I forgot that I even had them done. But as soon as I saw the piece, I was like, oh, I remember asking for that.
Yeah.
Back when artists made enough where they weren't charging for sketches.
Right. Yeah. In those days, you could just walk up, bring the backing boards with you, and you just, could I have a head sketch or could I have a sketch? And oh, sure. And they'd just do it.
Yeah, and flipping didn't exist. There was no eBay. There was no none of that. So if you got something,
well, I always made guys feel better about it too. Even I still do it today. If I get something from somebody or an autograph, I always say, "Put it to me." And I even check with some of them going, "This is not going on eBay. this is going to me." And then you always see them always go, "Oh, okay, okay, that's better." Well, there was exactly what's going to happen. They're going to send it. They're going to put it on eBay as soon as they leave that convention.
Yeah, there was a bit there where I was There was a couple of shows in a row where they had placed me right next to Neil Adams, and even with them paying for the sketches, he was still personalizing them. And these people were obviously flippers, man. Like no one goes up there like, "Hey, can I get these 6 sketches?" Like, no. Like these are, they're either doing fulfillment or they're flippers. And so he was still personalizing them. And I just thought that was kind of bizarre. I was like, they're dropping 200. This dude just made $1,000 to sit here for an hour and sketch.
Right.
And still was insistent on personalizing them.
Well, that's good for the artist. At least he knows they're not going to turn around and, sell it on him. But yeah, it was. But yeah, I was there. Now it's a whole different time. Now you go up and that's why I tell people today. It's like, no, personalize it to me because it's not going on eBay. This is for myself. I'm not gonna turn around and sell this stuff.
Yeah. No, I personally, I don't care. I really don't care. I've done so many sketches and all that I just.
Thanks, Mel. That's Michael Bancroft's wife. Yeah.
I know Michael.
Yeah, we're on. Yeah,
been on there a couple of times.
Yeah, that's. I think it was for your sketchbook, wasn't it? For the first time I think I saw you it was after your sketchbook, or maybe it was for your other book.
He's had me on a few. I think I went on. Yeah, I went on for the sketchbook once, I think. And then I'm pretty sure I went on at the beginning and then at the end of the campaign on the 94 trade with Bancroft, yeah. Yeah.
Cuz I think I missed your first book. And then I got the 94. So that's why I was saying I may be one of those that is going to order that third from you since you said you had some extras. I'm like, that may trickling in, maybe one of me. Yeah.
Yeah, that sketchbook was, I mean, literally it was me just testing the waters because I've never had an Indiegogo campaign. So I was like, I'm gonna like literally I was like, I'm gonna throw a sketchbook together and see how it goes on here, and then I'll kind of see,
That's what I was going to ask you, if you'd used it, if that was your first time using it, was for the
Yeah,
shed.
and I do actually prefer. I do like the actual interface. I like the way you set up your campaign. Crazy user friendly. Like it's very easy to use, and that's what I like about it. Versus Kickstarter.
Yeah,
Honestly, yeah.
that's what everybody says. Yeah,
No, honestly, like because I'll see people fulfilling, or they're it's like they're attempting to fulfill, and then they go through all their backer kit stuff, and then there's still people who haven't taken care of their other end. I'm like, there's too much like changing hands. I feel like with all that, like just
right.
just have it done. Like place your thing, you're done. Now it's a waiting game, and you get it when you get it.
Right. That's what I was talking with Professor Murph and Phil Diaz last night, and they were saying that too. They're saying the real problem with Kickstarter was that when people back you, they don't actually back you. Then you don't get any money from till it's over if you reach your goal. So I was like, oh, really? So if I was to back, and I think I'm backing then, they don't actually take any money out till a long time later. So I was like, well, that'd be bad, because what if I don't have the money then, but I had it now to back? And that's one of the things I like about Indiegogo is when I back, the money's is taken out right then.
Yes. So years ago, I had a campaign on Kickstarter, and oh man, I'm going to guesstimate here. This is probably not super accurate, but so the total pledges in that, we'll just say, I'm just going to guesstimate. We're going to say 7,000. Okay.
Okay.
When it came time at the end of the campaign, the way my understanding, the way it runs is it'll run everything once. If it lapses or the cards decline a week or two later, it tries it again for a second time. After that, it dumps that pledge. But it's still I remember this. It's still reflected in the campaign as being part of the campaign to make you over the hump to be successful, and that Kickstarter gets their cut. So what happened was it actually lost money. It ended up being something like, we're going to say 1,500 under what the actual goal was supposed to have been.
Oh, wow.
And this is from people whose cards lapsed or they were not charged.
Right.
And so yeah, you get a couple hundred people, and then you get 75 whose their end doesn't, when all is said and done, and their end doesn't charge correctly. Then it's put on you and I'm like, I'm not a bill collector. Like, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, that's really dumb.
Like, it's hard enough to just try to make sure that your product's out and on time and shipped and that. So it's just added stress. And I'm like, no, I want to create. I don't want to spend my whole day,
right,
after 50 or 70 people who pledged on it, and then they for whatever circumstance they the payment didn't go through. So
I never used Kickstarter. So they were telling me this last night, and I've heard people say it before too, and they were saying how Kickstarter, you can only go 30 days and that's it. They don't give you the 60-day option to do another 30, and then the in demand. But I'm like, so yeah, some people make, they go in demand and they can double what they made in the 60 days. And Kickstarter doesn't do that. And then the whole thing about not charging you, I was like, wow, yeah, that would. Because if like Indiegogo, I like, because if I go like your project, I'm like, I'm going to back this right now. It's done. There goes the money. I have the money right now. Right. I don't know if I'm going to have it 6 months from now or whatever when they decide to charge me. Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah. My understanding is now they're kind of emulating Indiegogo, not necessarily with the in-demand thing, but where they allow, like, let's say I did a 94 Kickstarter, right? I did like a 94 buck, and it ends. You can have it where I don't know if it's an automatic forward or if it's like a link, but somehow if you had an online presence store somewhere that you could redirect people going to that campaign to the other place to purchase or whatever. So that's my understanding of it. I don't know how. I've never, like, just like you, I haven't used it. I don't know
Right.
how that works, but that's what was loosely explained to me about how they operate now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know one of the things that they were saying that I asked them both last night. I was like, what would you like to see changed? And basically the only thing they both came up with that they both agreed on that needed to be changed was they need to do a way of having like a way to add on stuff. Like if the person comes out with more like stuff during his 60 days or his in demand, and you want to go back and back more stuff, that it can add it on without charging you the shipping. If it can go into one Gemini mailer.
Right. I haven't had that hurdle yet. I don't have enough backers yet to have issues. So
yeah. Well, hopefully
that's why it was.
We'll get you on more streams and stuff for this, so we'll get you more.
This one was easy. This one, I mean, it wasn't easy. It was difficult, but it was easy for me to fulfill because I only had, with I ended the in demand. Okay, what essentially happened was I went in demand during election. Dude, it was dead. Like I had it up for an additional 30 days or something and had like 3 more backers. I'm like, screw this. I shut it down. I'm like, I'm ready to start shipping stuff at this point. I'm not going to sit here and make people wait for me to try to pull something that doesn't exist. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to, everyone's preoccupied. They're preoccupied with all this other stuff. So yeah, I started throwing all my orders in and all that. Sweet.
Jojo Kun says, yeah, he got his yesterday.
Yeah. Nice.
I think I got mine Wednesday. I think it's when mine came.
Yeah, I was going to the post office every day with, 15 or 20 that I would do the previous night. Yeah, so, I would just, it was all me. I threw, I put everything together, and I'm very particular with my packaging and stuff too.
Can I say I really like that you put it in the hard cases too? That was awesome.
Well, I treat it like a collectible.
Right.
You have to. That's an expensive book. That costs 3 times as much as the trade. So.
Yeah, well, with a lot of comics too, I was expecting, even with your ash cans, you did it. You put them into the hard cases, and I was like, wow, I wasn't expecting that because most things you expect is the bag and board.
Yeah.
Just bag and board it. And when I saw those, I was like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah.
The extra mile on these.
Yeah, I'm not trying to set a bar for anyone else the way anyone else does it. I'm just doing it the way when we ship stuff from my house, we ship the way that I wish someone else shipped me stuff. And that's all I have to say. Like, that's all I have to say about it. Hasn't, being that I do all my own fulfillment, that way I also know that, stuff gets there safely. I had someone message me yesterday. My daughter's in dance. She's 6, and we're coming back, and I get a message from someone that I read when we got home, and he's like, "Hey man, so," and I'm thinking it's just going to be this. He got a sketch. He got an original sketch. Got the trade. He added all this extra stuff on it, the single issues and all that. Like, it was a very expensive box. And he just started sending me all these photos of this box. This box is hammered. I guess they left it out in the snow, and it was like drenched and ended up in like a river. I don't know. Like, this box was underwater. But because of the way that I packed it, essentially, he should have told me this at the beginning so I didn't have a panic attack, because he was one of the people that ordered the limited to 15 limited. Those things are all gone. I have no replacements for those.
Oh, wow.
Like, I don't do a limited to 15 and print 20. I print 15. Like, that's it. Yeah. And so he hit me up with all that and sent me these photos. And then at the very end of it, he goes, because of the way that you packed it, all the items were perfect. And I'm like, start with that. Because I was sitting here like, oh my gosh, like, this is horrible.
I
know it wasn't fault of my own, but I felt bad about it.
Right.
I'm like, oh no, like
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
But he finally,
lead with
at
that
the
next
bottom of
time.
this 3 paragraph email,
Oh,
he drops that on me, and I'm like, okay. And at the top's all the photo attachments of the damaged everything, and I'm like,
oh,
just shaking my head, like, come on, man.
oh. Then here, I'll just lead with that next time. Don't do that
Yes,
to me.
yes.
So for the next campaign, what have you learned from your first two that you're gonna to improve your next campaign, or something you're gonna do differently about it?
So the biggest change you're going to see is I'm going to offer, and it had to do with ability. I'm going to offer a lot of original artwork on this one because I'll have it. The problem with the 94, the trade, was that what I offered on there in bundles were the only originals I had available from that series.
Oh,
Because I had sold through so many originals in the past from it that I didn't have anything to, you know what I mean,
yeah.
to offer as a reward. So I was like, well, I'll just do bundles because some of these pages they're not throwaways. I do have other pages from it that I'll never sell just because they're not something I consider to be good pages. So if it's not a good page, I'm not going to put it, like, if there are pages that are designed for the purpose of story, but they're not something that you would frame, right?
Right.
Like you see those pages where people have, I saw it for a bit there. People were clowning around about, the talking pages where it's the same face for 15 panels across 2 pages and all that nonsense, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I would never sell that page unless it was like an acceptable trope that is funny for the purpose of it being that thing. Nobody wants that piece in their collection. Like, nobody wants that. So I would never, try to put that on someone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not everything can be, not everything can be a splash page either. So it's like, there's trying to make sure that all the filler material is at least interesting. It looks interesting enough that it's something people might want.
Yeah. So do you draw digitally or do you draw traditionally?
No, I draw traditional. Yeah, this is I don't know if you saw me post this one up. This will probably be a cover to it's another Toddy swipe. Yeah, but it's
let me make this screen. There you go.
Yeah, it was just that Spidey punch and hole cover that McFarlane did 35 years ago. So yeah, I just kind of felt like doing it. I had it laid out for a year. It's like literally I had it laid. I have a drawer full of blue line layouts of things. I kind of decide when I want to use it.
So you look in there and you're like, oh, which one can I use? Let's see. Oh, this one will work. Well, that's awesome.
I have an idea that I'm probably going to offer another ash can, like the ash can that you got. I'm probably going to offer another one, but just do it like a deluxe ash can. And I might actually go full size floppy with it and then offer it as an add-on to the actual campaign, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
The reasoning why is like those 2 ash cans that you got, those are sold out. Like they're sold out. Like you're not going to find them. So I've had when I say a lot, I've had 20, 30 people asking me, and I'm like, those things were limited, man. Like, you know what? But I tell them, I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm going to put together another one. It's going to be different, but it'll still be ash can of, the properties. So,
yeah, I know.
Can't appease everyone.
Right.
Can't make everyone happy, man.
Yeah. When you posted that, I was like, oh, ash can. So I went to it. I was like, oh, there's 2 covers. I was like, I want both of these.
Yeah. No, it's just fun. It's just something to.
Yeah. Oh, they look really awesome too. I mean,
you gotta stay relevant. Yeah. I've actually had a lot of feedback of people liking the they like the paper stock. And that sounds funny. People are telling me like, oh, they're like, hey, this paper stock's really cool, like the cover and that. And I'm like, well, I actually, when I had them made, I told them I wanted the exact same stock used on these trades. So I went heavy stock interior, and I went, I think I went 110 cover. So it's a card stock, but it's has some, it's a tangible book. It's not gonna bust at the spine when you crack it,
Right.
you know. So we kind of went, we went back and forth with the printer, and then they sent me a bunch of samples, and I kind of cherry picked it. And he goes, this will bind real nice, you know, for 100 pager. Because what I really wanted was I wanted that nice cut, that nice fold going on there. And so, you know, we kind of compromised. I'm like, well, okay, so originally this book was only going to be 70 or 80 pages. And the printer, they were selling me on a higher weight interior page paper stock. And I was like, why don't we kind of meet in the middle? Why don't we go down a grade? Because I don't want the whole thing to feel like a bunch of cover pieces throughout, like, because you're going to be, you know,
right.
I'm more concerned about like pages, you know, falling out of it and this and that. And I beat a few of these up to kind of see what would happen, and they've all kept perfect form, which is nice.
Yeah, that's one of the problems I've seen with some books is when they go too thick on the paper, it makes it so you can't read it very easily. When you're trying to turn the pages to read it, you can't, or it goes down too far into the spine that it cuts off some of the pages sometimes. Yeah,
and that's kind of where they were leading me originally, and you're around the middle of the book, and you're having to literally, it would be one of those pushing it down and flattening it so you can go through the next page.
Right.
And I don't want to do that to people. I don't want them damaging these books. So I was like, no. So I think we went this stock that we used for this is it's pretty similar to what they would use in like the very beginning of like the image books.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, where it was like a nice glossy stock. It's a heavier stock. There's no bleed through at all. He had sent me some other stuff that was. You know, even holding it up in the light, you could see everything through it, and I wasn't really feeling it. I was like, this is like what Marvel's putting out. Marvel stock now is a joke. Marvel comics right now is a joke.
I haven't looked at one in so long. I don't even know what the interior is like.
My buddy sent me a photo. He got it was one of these 1 in 100 Venom variants or something, and he had sent me a photo. He pulled the book out of the bag and the board. The backboard had a ghost reverse image of the back cover.
Oh no!
Yeah, and it's a brand new book.
Oh, that's
and he's
horrible.
Like, dude. So he pulled out a few more and he showed me. He goes, dude, the images in these books are transferring to these backboards. And I said, that's botched. That's just bad printing, man. Like
that's
shouldn't
really
happen.
bad. That shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's leaving it wet. So, you know, like the old newspapers when you get them and you look through it, and your hands would be covered in the ink afterwards.
Yeah.
It's like, that's that kind of cheap stuff.
No, it's super cheap. And something else I noticed, I picked up a Guardians book a month or two ago. And what I noticed is that the entire book was like 85 pound throughout, even the cover. The cover stock wasn't special. It was literally the same stock throughout. To me, I'm like, if you're dropping $5.99 on a book, give me a nice cover. Just give me a nice cover stock. Like,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's it. And, you know, make sure that, you know, like I said before, that we can read it. Because you don't want to, you know, because if it's too stiff, you open it and then you're going to damage the spine or damage, like you said. You know, you want to be able to read it without damaging the book. But you still, you know, like, I don't buy these to not read them.
Right.
It's like I want to see the art, I want to see the story, but some of them are. I've seen people complaining was like you open it, it's like the pages don't bend. They were so thick.
Yep.
I'm like, no, I don't want that. That's not good. I saw it.
And just so anyone knows, my comments is froze up. It's been frozen the whole time we've been talking almost, so I don't see anything.
Oh, okay.
Over here. It happened to me on Michael's stream too. He was bringing up comments that weren't even showing up in my side.
I saw this one. I was from Blue Samurai. That's my soul. Oh, that's all. That'll heal. It's okay.
Hey, all things are small things, right?
So is like you were saying. So you're gonna do. So have you decided on what you're gonna do for like your campaign wise for your next book? Like you were just saying, you're thinking about adding some new add-ons and stuff. Is it gonna be just the main book with maybe the add-on, or are you thinking about doing anything else?
So I'm gonna have two covers for sure, to choose from, or both, or whatever. I'm gonna have original artwork for an add-on.
Yeah, it's probably cheap ink and cheap paper.
I think, yeah, both. In all honesty, I'm probably not going to offer any sort of sketches with this one, just because even though I sold through 25 sketches for this campaign, it was taxing. I'm not going to lie, it was a little bit taxing. The reason being is that I was working on them and getting messages like people very excited about getting their books, but wanting to know if it's been shipped yet. And I'm like, there were times where I was sketching something for one backer and I would just give it to someone else who just asked me and just put it in their package, like, because they were getting the same back, the same. I was like, I just want to get this out. I just want to, it's like, I want everyone to be happy. Like, I want to be done with this, but also, so it put a little bit of extra work on me, that I don't really feel like, a good friend of mine backed it, and he was even asking, he's like, hey, so is everyone getting their stuff before me then, since you're doing, and I was like, dude, don't do this to me, man. Like,
yeah. He's all
like, don't make me feel bad that you're going to have to wait an extra week.
Yeah. He's like, I thought we were friends.
Right.
Yeah, I wonder that sometimes when you see some of the artists do the sketches, and it's like, oh, well, like one will do like, oh, well, this is limited to 50, and you're like, that seems like a lot of work if you sell all 50 of those to get that done and get everything else done too.
25 sketches took me 2 weeks on this, and this is at night. I was only doing these. I will go out there and put on Westworld and do sketches. and to add to that, I do have backers that are real big into grading and stuff.
Oh.
So every sketch I did, if you look at your book, that book, I guarantee you it's a 9.8 candidate, because every sketch that I did was a 9.8 candidate. I made sure, like, when I work on them, I treat every sketch like it's going to be graded at some point, because I have so many books that go to CBCS and CGC. So I just treat every sketch like it might. I'm like, I'm not like Jay Lee. I don't even know if there's a 9.8 that exists that's a Jay Lee sketch. I've seen that guy bend a book in half after being handed it. Like, I don't understand. Some people treat them like I don't treat comics like magazines. I guess when I'm handling them, I treat them like a collectible.
Right.
I guess I'm a weirdo for that, but there are creators, like I've seen Rob Liefeld, I've seen Rob, I've seen Jay Lee, I've seen Jim Lee treat these books that are they're highly sought after,
Yeah.
They're talking to someone and waving it around, like talking with their hands, and you can see this book's spine just,
Oh man.
getting erect.
Yeah. Then it's like, oh, okay, that one's not going to be rated very well. So, from what you learned from your first 2 campaigns, like, is that leading up to your new campaign? Is that going to be? Did you learn a lot from these first 2 campaigns about to working on this last one, or is it just all about what you're saying about the getting your backer numbers up?
I didn't have any speed bumps. I actually had no speed bumps with either one. So
Oh, that's good.
I don't think that there's like a learning curve on that side, like things that'll make it smoother for me.
Right.
Both of them I fulfilled early. I think that the sketchbook was fulfilled. Like when I say fulfilled, I mean the very last package went in the mailbox. In my outgoing, I think the sketchbook was 2 weeks before estimated shipping date, not delivery, estimated shipping. And then this one here, it's like a month and 2 weeks. Like this thing wasn't supposed to start shipping for another 5 weeks right now, I think. And so I'm just trying. The way that I see it is like, if anything, if I can't get my backer count up, at the very least, I'll gain a little bit of a reputation for not only are you going to get your stuff, there's a strong possibility you'll get it early. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Now, if I ended up with 400 or 600 backers on the next one, it's probably going to be you're getting this on time. It's probably not going to be you're getting this, you know what I mean? It's probably not going to be you're getting this early. It kind of depends on where it goes and how it pans out with in demand. Not going in demand doesn't make sense. Why you wouldn't? Right. But like I said, I pulled the plug on my own because it was getting nothing. I did another stream after it. Nothing was generated. I was pushing it still. Nothing was generated. And a matter of fact, ever since starting fulfillment, I've got more orders on my site than I had from in demand.
Oh, wow.
That first 30. Yeah. So
that's probably the people that found out about it too late.
It's all late. And majority of them sent me messages that they actually saw it advertised on, I guess Ethan Van Sciver did a review of it. Not a review. He kind of brought my campaign up. Luckily he wasn't like too brutal on it.
Oh yeah.
So it was funny. It made me laugh. I mean, it made me laugh. It made me laugh.
Yeah. Yeah. That's everything. We need to get make sure you get on more streams so we can, get that up, because your art and your books are awesome. I mean, and so we need to get, more places, like couple of good ones too, or if you want to, for like getting more views too. Besides Bancroft would be like How to Draw Comics is a good one. The Barton brothers and Rob, the Replicator, they have a good one. They get a lot of views. I'm
going on one. What month is? Oh, we're still January. So I think it's next month. I think it's the end of February. I'm pretty sure I have another one. Yeah. Or no, that's not it. I was gonna say Barton Brothers, but
yeah, I'll tell them because I'm on their streams sometimes too.
Okay.
I'll tell them to need to get you on. And so with do you know Jimmy Reyes? He's another one that has a good stream.
Yeah, I went on his stream the same day. That was, it all kind of melts together in my head. Yeah. There was a day that I was on 4 streams in one day. For whatever reason, it just turned out that people were like hitting me up like, "Hey, you're available later today?" I'm like, "Sure." I'm not going to say no.
Yeah.
I'll just double down tomorrow on actual work. It's not
Right,
wouldn't be
exactly.
my first time. Yeah, I went on with Jimmy. Went on with Michael the same day. I went on with Mandy. I think I went on Mandy's that day too, and then I went on another. I want to say I went on maybe two more. I know there's another one for sure.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, because the more people this way, the more people that see it, the better. Oh.
Yeah, and the new one too. The new book's gonna be. I'm almost scared of the contrast. Yeah, I'm almost scared of the contrast that.
Blue has something he wants me to show you.
I can't see it, so you got to pull it up.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up
because my like I said, my comments is like it froze.
Hey,
that's fantastic.
Hey, wait a minute. That doesn't look like you.
Oh, that would make sense. My Starbucks card was hacked 2 weeks ago, and it was someone in New York, so I bet it was them.
Oh, that's funny. I'm like,
I had to get a new card issued. Yeah, I had to get a new card issued. It was like
oh, that's funny.
It was 2 transactions of like $13 and $12. So I'm gonna get a hold of that Shelby right there.
Yeah, she probably did it. It's probably
she looks like she drinks a cappuccino.
Yeah, exactly. Now we found out who did it.
Okay, I appreciate that link. I can.
Yeah,
I can sleep at night knowing who stole my $30 off my Starbucks card.
Yeah, there it is. Now we know.
They actually gave it back to me. My card was showing a 0 balance, and so I called the number, and they said, "Oh well, we closed." I thought someone just stole the money off it. And they said, "No, they actually halted my card because they saw suspicious activity in New York." And I was like, "Yeah, I live in Arizona. I am not anywhere near New York."
Yeah. You're all, no, that wasn't me. Yeah. I had something like that happen too. What is it? Oh, here you go. Oh, Blue wants to know why you gave up your other career as an OBGYN.
My wife made me quit.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Shouldn't allow that. I had something like that happen to me where I got a call from my bank, the fraud department, and they were like, "We're just we're just like, sir, we're calling you to find out. Are you currently in Moscow?" And I went, "No, I'm at home in Orlando." And they go, "That's what we wanted to confirm." And I'm like, "What? Moscow? What do you mean?" "Well, your card just showed activity at a McDonald's in Moscow."
Wow.
And I was like, "No, that's not me. And here's a little bit of advice, a little more information for you. If you ever see my card being used at a McDonald's, it's not me, because I never go to McDonald's." And the lady just started laughing.
That's excellent.
But yeah, in Moscow, I was like, okay, that's not right.
Speaking of Moscow, my buddy of mine that I grew up playing baseball with, he just bought a house. He lives in, he was actually a backer too. But I remember looking at his address. He lives in Moscow, Idaho. There's a town there called Moscow.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Him and his wife, they moved there they were living in San Francisco, and then they were living in Washington, and then they just moved. They moved out there. There's a huge Pacific Northwest exodus right now. A lot of people leaving. A lot.
Well, for like us, for California, I don't know a single person that I went to school with or knew when I lived in California, when I was younger, that lives there anymore. Not a single one. They've all moved.
I do, but they all work in education.
Oh,
they're all educators. Yeah. The ones who stayed are educators in California. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, everybody I know is left, and the people that are still there from when I lived in Southern California, they're all looking at moving out because it's gotten so bad there. I mean, I used to live in we lived in Burbank. My wife and I, we moved back and forth 3 times now, and
I left in 2009.
Yeah, we left the first time in 2008. Came back here. and then moved back to California in 2014, 15, 16. Yeah, and then we moved back here again in 2016. And in Burbank, it was oh my God, it was so expensive to live there. And then, but a friend of ours that lives in Studio City there was telling us that Burbank is the only town in that whole area there that doesn't look like it's been touched by anything. He said you drive around Studio City and the canyon there and all of that, and he said it looks like horrible. I mean, homeless everywhere. It looks terrible. Everything. You drive over the overpass into Burbank, and it is pristine. It's like,
Right.
And I'm like, well, yeah, you've got all those movie studios there. You've got all those production companies, and he's like, yep, it's like they are paying off the city and the cops to make sure nothing touches Burbank.
Well, I didn't know how bad stuff was getting there until it was maybe about a year ago or so. I always have YouTube going while I'm working in that, because I literally work right here. So the computer, it's just,
Right.
What's his face? He was posting a bunch of pics, just clowning on it. It was the Joe Rogan experience. Joe Rogan was posting photos of downtown, and I remember thinking, I was like, he sounds like someone that wants to get out. And the next thing you know, he's like already like moving to Texas or whatever.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was kind of silly,
Yeah,
but
he used to do that all the time, where he used to show pictures of downtown LA, and it's like,
oh, it looked horrible.
Yeah, and
yeah.
It was bad when I was there in like 2016 when we moved, but it even looks worse now. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, I thought it looked horrible when I was there before, but now it's like it's taken over. Like the homeless area has taken over most of downtown now. It seems like, and it's just, and they won't do anything about it. They decided they're not going to touch them. They're going to let them basically do whatever they want, and it's like it looks really horrible down there. Except they won't let any of them near the LA Live area, which is that new area that they re-gentrified down there by the what's it called, where the Lakers play. I want to say the other one. I can't remember the name of it. But down there, that's the only area of all of downtown LA that looks pristine, because they won't let anybody touch that area because they spent so much money on it.
Yeah.
But the rest of it looks horrible. It's so bad.
It's all the big cities there though. San Jose is tore up. Sacramento is just a freaking joke now.
Oh yeah, it is. My nephew lives there, and he posts pictures of it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, basically, it looks like it's everywhere, just right around the Capitol, and then there's the Capitol. That's the only part that they won't let them touch, and the rest of the city looks like garbage, literally.
Or it could be like San Francisco Capitol. It's like use needles on the steps when going into the Capitol. Like it's wild. It's wild. Yeah.
I never thought growing up there, I would ever leave, because I'm like, why would I leave the best state? But then, oh my gosh, it just went woof. Now it's like, couldn't get out of there fast enough.
Yeah.
Then when we went back, it was like, my wife was like, oh yeah, we'll go back, blah, blah, the stuff. And then after like 2 years we were there, my wife's like, okay, I'm ready to get out of here. This place is terrible. We need to get out. And I'm like, oh yeah, we didn't even last, two and a half years back. And we were like, okay, time to go out to Florida. And then moving back here from Burbank, it was like to Orlando, which Orlando's a pretty good sized city. It was a 40% cost of living difference to go from there to here back. And we were like, yep, we're going. We're out. Can't do it anymore. And then everybody else, like I said, they've gotten out of there. It's like, and you too, you're saying the same thing. It's like you, Dan, all these people that grew up there. It's like, oh, we're out of here. No, can't do it anymore.
Right.
Oh.
Night.
Oh, she's so cute.
She's a hijacker. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. She finds any reason she can to not be in bed.
Oh, of course. Yep.
Yeah.
I know, that's my nieces and nephews too. It's like, and then I keep thinking, but I want to go to bed. I like bed now. And then when you're little kids, you're like, nope, not doing it. Oh yeah,
No,
Daring.
when she's out though.
Yeah, yeah. Staples Center. That's it. Yeah, that area down there. They redid the whole area. They put a big feeder in there, and in the winter, when I was there, they put in a big ice skating rink up, a Christmas tree, all that really nice area. That's the only area of downtown that they won't let anyone get near, and it's literally police like all the way around it, making sure nothing touches that one area. But the rest of the city,
Yeah, that's
looks like
the Safeway Center in Chasefield. Not necessarily Chasefield in Phoenix, but the Safeway Center where they have all the concerts and that. And I think that's where. No, the Suns don't play there. But yeah, they it's the same thing. They have security that just like move along. You want like no one can stay there. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's why otherwise they'd have tent city in their front lawn.
Right. Yeah, that's what they were saying about Anaheim now too. It's like it's really bad down there as well. Anaheim, Fullerton, Placentia, all that area right there. It's become like every overpass on the freeway, there's a tent city underneath it now, and all down where the riverbed is there that runs down by the pond, or it used to be the pond, the Honda Center, and the Angel Stadium. There's all kinds of tents in there now too. Right. And it's just bad. Even other friends that we had that work Disneyland or that live out there they're all like, we're getting out. We're getting out. We're going like just about any other place except here. And I'm like, well, move to one of the states with the no taxes. That's really nice. Like Florida or Texas or Nevada if you like the desert, but I'm like, man, it's like it's so nice being somewhere where you don't have to deal with all that.
Yep.
Let's see. What was this? I was going to ask. So is there are there any good any campaigns that you're really looking forward to out there?
The ones that you put me on the spot.
Well, you don't have to name just the one. It's like
okay.
Someone.
Yeah. So Rob's campaign, the Replicator book looks. I mean, it looks pro, like mainstream pro. Like it looks very, very nice. That one, I'm always impressed. I know he regurgitates a lot of the same artwork and stuff for like promoting it, but it's like it's always it's easy on the eyes. It's a nice, very nice looking project. I'm really surprised it's not blowing up, but the snowman campaign. I was dude. I used to buy those books back in the day. Like I was buying the Snowman books, I was buying the Cyberfrog books, I was buying the Creed books, just because of how they were like indie, but not indie. It's like they were kind of on that line, like towing the line, like very, very mainstream, but also very kind of unique, just different. They had a different look, But yeah, that one like. It looks very interesting. I saw Kenneth just launched his Rocket Fort. He just launched that Groken. I'm not going to pronounce it right. Yeah, I kept missing out. I wanted to get one of those ash cans he kept putting out, and they would sell out. And I'm like, dude, I messaged him, and he didn't get back.
I remember.
I've hung out with him. I've hung out with him a few times at shows, and. I'm surprised he went.
Ash can, and I was like, "Oh, good. Okay, I'll get it as soon as I get home." I was out for a couple hours. They were gone.
No, 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Yeah. 5 minutes, and they're all gone.
Yeah, I got home and I went on the thing. I'm like, sold out already. What? Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, his first one sold out in I think he said 20 minutes or something, and the second one was gone in 5 minutes.
It was. It was
like,
insane.
Wow. That was crazy.
Yeah, that I'm thinking off the top of my head. I don't got my phone in front of me, so
yeah.
Honestly, there's several that I just I'm like, man, that's a very legit. That's a very legit. Like I'm gonna say product. I'm like, man, that looks really cool. Like it's a very cool IP. Um, yeah, there's a lot of them. There's very few that I see that I'm like, why is this a book?
Yeah.
Right. Like very few that I'm like, oh man, like they weren't ready, or that I have that idea, like, oh, they should have worked on this a bit more, or this or that. But funny enough, like 50% of, I mean, it's a lot of the DC product. I just shake my head when I see this stuff. I'm like, why? Like, what were they thinking? Just doesn't really.
And it's so neat to see some of the talent too coming out. They're not the comic professionals.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at their work and you're like, wow, why are they not comic? Why weren't these guys comic professionals? Their work looks so good. And like you said, it looks like these should be, these should have been something that if it was a different world, these would have been mainstream comics.
Yeah. So, I was I'll say just discussing this because it was recent. I was just discussing with a friend of mine about that it's funny to me that the self-produced, the indie stuff right now is just stomping on the quality of all the big two.
Yeah.
And it is. No, it's true. It is.
Yeah,
like
it's
the self-published stuff is destroying. They're not getting the sales. That's the thing that's kind of boggling to me.
Right.
Is that you're not seeing the sales reflected as far as number, books, units sold, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they keep talking about, well, we've shipped this many issues, but you're like, well, shipping is not actually people buying it. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's a local shop where I get all my loaders and all my bags and boards and all my trades and stuff from there. And you'll go there and he'll only have 5 or 6 copies loose for the shelf versus his subs, right?
Right.
And you go there in 2 weeks, and then the same copies are on the shelf of the same book. I'm like, it's getting to the point where I think a lot of shops are just going to start doing subscription only as far as what they order, because they're eating so many books are just sitting, and it's really not the shop's fault. No, it's these companies are putting out subpar, and I guess that's my point.
In the old Diamond distributor day, when they were doing stuff, really, when they had lockdown control of everything, you couldn't return anything. So however many books you ordered, if they didn't sell, you ate them. They were yours.
Right.
And now it's gotten to the point where I think you're right. I think they're getting to the point. The comic book stores around me here are the same, where they're only like, you go up to the shelves and there's only like a few issues on the shelf, except for what they order for their subscribers, and it's not going anywhere. And then you look at like the independents now, and they selling like crazy because it's what we want. It's like your book, it takes us back to the good old days, the best days of comics in the 90s.
Right.
And it's like this is the heyday of when everything was really at its peak, and that's what we want to see. And I think these days, if you look around too, there's some comics that are being made now that would never have been would never have been made by a comic book company. And they're coming out and they're awesome, and you're like, yeah, but this would never have been made by either of the big two. They wouldn't have fit into what they wanted. Right.
Yeah, and it kind of makes you wonder, 10, 15 years ago, if more people were apt to just take initiative and use a crowdfunding device. How many good books never were? You know what I'm saying? Like how many good books,
right?
And things that could have been game changers never came out because you got crap editors at the big two, and you got these writers who are hiring their friends, but their friends don't sell books. You know what I'm saying? Like you got it's just the office politics
Right.
of these companies.
Right.
Can really destroy what fans have in their hands, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Just subs at +2, +4 on the shelf at his local comic book stores. Yeah, happy that all of DC is not returnable.
I think that's all comic shops now, honestly.
Yeah.
Unless you're a high volume shop, which most are not.
Right. Only SG Thomas creators literally eat. Yeah, I know the stores that are around me. I'm friends with the guys who own the biggest chain here in Central Florida. It's called Coliseum of Comics, and they were telling me that it's even that way now. That's why they're having to diversify more. And one of their guys who's their main buyer for back issues, he was telling me that back issues that's what sells now. Nothing new sells because people don't want it. And the good back issues, the good stories and the good stuff is what sells. And then they have to diversify out, games and those stupid Funko Pop things, and
Yes.
And they're like nothing
tower.
new sells from anybody right now. It's like it's all garbage and nothing's selling. So he's like working overtime trying to get more back issues and make sure back issues stay in, because that's where most of the profit's coming from now.
Yep. Like I was saying, the quality books now is in the indie. All the quality books are in the indie. You're going to find a couple gems here and there, but they're not consistent in a mainstream book anymore.
Right. Well, especially when you see all of the stuff. That's why they have scenes. Yeah, exactly. That's why they have scenes where they're all sitting around eating, or they're all sitting around and having a heart to heart, instead of going out and sorry, superhero guys. There's something you guys need to go do something. Oh, we'll get to that in a minute. Let's finish our talk. Yeah, it's exact. Oh my god. Yeah, that's exactly it. But yeah, it's that's what I say. That's like what I was saying about you're seeing some stuff coming out of the independent creators, which are amazing, and it's like, wow, look at this stuff. And then you'd see some of this stuff which is really great. It reads great. It looks great. You'd never see it in the mainstream because it wouldn't fit into what Marvel or DC would want. And then you would lose, some of that stuff like you were saying.
No, it'll get Twitter canceled,
right?
Like fast. No,
exactly.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Yeah.
And I mean, like Graham Nolan's The Chinoo, like that book. You see like that. It's like that would never have gotten made,
right?
With that concept, that kind of horror comic kind of setup. Oh,
so to my.
That's like well, sorry about that. I didn't mean to attack you. What is this? They're eating scenes. Yep. Exactly.
Okay, so I'm missing the reference. Was there a book that had come out recently that had a multi-panel eating scene?
Oh yeah, I can't remember which one it was. Somebody was talking about it too. It literally had a multi-page scene where they're sitting around a table eating and talking, and it was a multiple pages.
That's great.
Yeah. And then I think DC did one. Was it Superman?
So they reduced the number. They increased the number of ads. They reduced the pages of content, and now the reduced content pages. What you're telling me is, even less than that of actual being a hero or.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there was I think it was a Superman book. It showed like inside of the Daily Planet or whatever it was. And it was literally a panel and then it literally must have had 2,000 words on it, covering the whole 2-page spread.
Okay, so what's worse? Would that be worse, or would a page of all silhouettes be worse? Because remember that was one of the things in the 90s that used to happen when artists would get behind. They would throw every third, or like the Michael Turner method was the giant profile where it would just be half the face, and it's like 2/3 of the page.
I don't know. At least that's art. But when you've got a word bubble that literally go from the top of a page all the way across that page and into the next page of a double page spread, all words through the whole thing. So I don't know.
That's counterintuitive of good storytelling, though. That goes back to Kirby. Where do you lead the eye? Upper left, lower right. However you get their eye there is up to you, but that's the direction.
Right.
Word balloons don't do that.
No, and they literally went from the top of the first page on an angle, and they went. Sorry, I'm doing it this way. And they went like this down the page, both pages of a 2-page spread of just word balloons the whole way down. And I'm like, for one, that's somebody talking way too much. So it's like okay,
nah.
But they did it. They didn't even leave like like a good artist will leave the places to put the word balloons. They didn't have that. They went right across the art, diagonal across both pages in it. And I'm
who are the editors? Like, how is that passable? Okay, so here's my thing. How was that passable? That had to have left how many hands before it hit the press?
Right.
That means that many people just said,
yeah, that looks good. Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Are there even editors anymore in Marvel or DC? I mean, because some of the stuff that gets out would never have gotten out any other time, because it's like, this stuff is trash. How did the editor go, yeah, that looks good, let it, print it?
Yeah, most of the editors that I've dealt with through the years, pretty much, I mean, they would just crack the whip. I mean, they were
right,
like they at least had a standard of what acceptable product is.
Right.
Even though they know stuff gets shorted, stuff gets shorthanded, and stuff gets rushed. And it's pretty evident. You can tell in a book. You could tell when the quality dips, or they have a fill-in artist do the last 3 pages because they needed those pages yesterday. That's kind of those situations. But no, like what you're saying there, that's just someone in charge who doesn't understand comics. Like literally, that's someone who doesn't understand comics. I mean, that's just
these guys that you see these days, or some of these issues or something. It's like, I don't think any of these people even understand comic books, because they look horrible. They bring in writers that should not be writing a comic book, or shouldn't be writing at all sometimes, and that they're bad. That's why you turn around. But then you turn around, you look at the indies, and you're like, oh my gosh, like the CG stuff. You're like, this stuff is awesome. This stuff is like quality, and it keeps getting better and better. I mean, some of this stuff now is getting to such a high degree. It's like, wow, new people are going to try to come in, and you're going to have to step your game up to keep up with some of these people, how good it is.
Yeah. And anybody coming up wanting to work in comics, that's, if you're influenced by the best, that kind of sets your bar, right?
Right.
So one of the things that I think can happen is, it's like in the 90s when, I mean, granted, I worked for him for years. I did a lot of finishes for him and that, but when you got 13 and 14-year-old kids only looking at Rob Liefeld art in 1988 and 1989, okay? What happens with that? They think that's the bar, okay? Right. And they're not looking around at, the last 4 years that Rick Leonardi was kicking ass, or when Art Adams was kicking ass. They're not looking at any of that stuff. They're just looking at the crown jewel at that moment in the collector's place, right?
Right.
And so I think what can happen is, like you're saying, like this thing with the word balloons, this and that unravels a whole lot with just basic storytelling. And so what happens when you get creators who are up and coming, or they're just trying to learn the craft, who are influenced by that? Now you're just going to have nothing but bad book. You're just going to have bad storytelling, bad,
Right.
Because they see, what I'm saying is they see that as an acceptable bar to be set. Like, if I can be at least this level, that's what people will like.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. So don't look at them. Look at what's going on in indie comics now. That's where you want to be looking. because it's blowing everything else out of the water. Well, we're heading up on 2 hours now, so I think I will end it here and tell everybody to go over to Bancroft's stream. It should be starting in a few minutes. And thank you for coming on tonight, Shelby. It's awesome getting to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks for having me in. And sorry to everyone who, I don't know, like I said, I can't see comments. They locked up like over an hour ago. They just locked up, like I can't scroll or nothing. So if anyone's asking stuff, not ignoring anyone. I don't know what's going on over there.
Asking direct questions to you. I was trying to put them up so that you could see them. People are making a lot of comments on comics right now. Okay. Good night, guys. And yes, here. Go over to Bancroft's stream now and check out his stream. And we will see you guys on the next Creator Truths. Have a good night, everyone.